So let's do in English or let's do in Portuguese?
I think English is better.
English is better, so they deal with our accent. That's fine.
No problem.
Finally here, man. Like 2 years later and 3 babies later, you're here.
Yeah.
Or 2 years and
I think it's 3 years and
two
babies.
babies later, you're here. Finally. Thank you very much, Luiz, for being. Like we met in a very strange way. Because you met a very good friend of mine, Diego.
Yeah.
And Diego, oh man, you wouldn't believe it, who I just met. The guy's an ex-Formula 1 engineer. You need to talk to him. And then you came to the store with your son, and then we figured out that we knew Diego, and now we're here.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. And so before I go and explore your mind with all my fan questions about Formula 1 and Indy and here, two-time Indy 500 winner right here in front of us. Wow. Come on. Respect. Respect, right? 2 rings, man. Before I explore that world, I'd like to know how a fellow Brazilian born in Campinas, right, ended up as a Formula 1 engineer for Valtteri Bottas in one of the most successful campaigns of all time. Because 2019, right here, I have a trophy right here. You won everything, right?
Yeah.
So what was your degree, your college degree in Brazil, and when you moved to the US, and how you ended up doing the 2019 campaign?
Sure. Yeah. So I actually talk about this a lot because there's a lot of people who ask me this question. You know, how do you get to Formula 1? How do you get to IndyCar? And the curated story is as such. So when I was small, I mentioned to my dad that I wanted to work in Formula 1. Really? And my dad's response was, well, you and the entire Flamengo team. Yeah. And if you don't know, Flamengo is a
very known Brazilian slang.
Yes, very.
Flamengo has the biggest fans, the most number of soccer fans in the world. So
exactly.
Anytime that you want something that everybody likes, you and the Flamengo fans.
Yeah. Yeah. So I use this story to kind of drive a point, and obviously this wasn't so clear in my mind back then, but it is now, and it's something that we all can do to kind of help us get to where we want. And this is to understand your competitive advantage. And to do that, you need to understand your competition. So a lot of people think that Formula 1 or IndyCar is just about making your car better. But I think equally as much is about understanding your competition, understanding the other car's strengths and weaknesses, and knowing how you can take advantage of that. And if you consider going into Formula 1 as a competitive venture, then who's your competition? Well, my dad just stated it, right? It's the entire soccer team, the entire fan base of this giant soccer team in Brazil. Okay, cool. So let's say that's 5 million people, okay? I'm just going to pull a random number in there. 5 million people in Brazil that want to work in Formula 1. How do you start getting the low-hanging fruit? How do you start positioning yourself in a way that you can have an advantage? First of all, start with the easy things. How many of those 5 million speak English? Okay, maybe you're down to 500,000, let's say. Yeah.
How many speak good English?
How many?
I'm out of the question. I'm good. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So it sounds like an easy thing, but that is really the primary thing. You either speak English or you speak Italian if you want to work in MotoGP.
French too, right?
French. But even then, even speaking Italian or French, without English, you cannot get into Formula 1. And so I had a big advantage there. When I was 8 years old, my dad was transferred to Chicago for a 1.5 year job assignment. He worked at Motorola at the time. This is when I learned English. So me and my sister, we were young then. We learned English. That's why I speak mostly without an accent. And so, okay, we just cut down the majority of people, right? Yeah. But there's still quite a lot. So out of those 500,000, how many did a mechanical engineering degree or electrical engineering degree or something that's relevant to motorsports engineering? Okay, now you're down to maybe 20,000, right? You start getting to a point where people start losing the visibility of what their dreams used to be. So when you're now in mechanical engineering, it's a 5-year program here in the States. It's grueling. By the time you get to the last year, you're looking for an internship. It's competitive. You accept the first thing that comes in, and a lot of people stay there, right? So how many of those people that completed a degree still have that dream and still have that ambition to get into motorsports?
And they don't have the life around them, like
exactly.
wife, kids, and
yeah. So it's important to kind of maintain that vision, right? And
so you're telling me that you have that vision since you were 8 years old?
Not that young, but I want to make it very clear too, because there's a lot of kids that grow up and say, I want to be a doctor, and that's what they do, forever. They're always...
Yeah, but Formula 1 engineer is very specific.
It's very specific, but also I had maybe 20 or 30 different things I wanted to be during this time, right? So I think it's perfectly normal for you to go through ups and downs of your goals and your dreams and your ambitions, but I think in the background it was always there. I always liked motorsports. I always liked racing. I love 2 wheels more than 4 wheels, actually. And so when you start narrowing down your competition, then you start needing to be a little bit more creative about how you get to the next step, right? And so I tell people that the 2 best ways to get into Formula One is to, number one, go to do a graduate degree in a British university that focuses in motorsports. Like Oxford Brookes has a great program. Cranfield University has a great program. There's a couple others that are up and coming. The good thing about that route is that the Formula One teams themselves, they have a funnel, they have a track for students that do those programs, because it's to their interest to build talent in the region. And so I know quite a few people that did their masters in motorsports engineering at Oxford Brookes or Cranfield, and within their thesis they're working within a Formula One team, and then they leave and they go straight in. So that's one of the ways.
And even because today, like 8 out of 10 teams are based in England around Silverstone, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
We have probably Alpha Tauri, whatever they call them right now, and Ferrari.
Yeah. And even them, they have operations in the UK.
Yeah.
So it's very important. So that's a really good way to do it. So now you basically you're cutting down your competition to maybe 50 people per year that are applying, that have the same skills and qualifications. The route that I did is a little bit harder, which is to build experience in a lower series first. And so I had the privilege really of, I went to school in Northridge. My undergrad was at CSUN here in California, and just about 25 minutes away is HPD, or now Honda Racing Corporation. And they do all of their IndyCar engines.
Don't call it a lower class.
I like it more. I like it more. But it's a leading. What do you say? It's a feeder class, perhaps.
Yeah, sure. With the smaller budget.
Lesser
budget. Let's go over that.
But a lot more fun.
Yesterday, honestly, I was more excited about I don't want to date this, but yesterday we have Spa and Laguna Seca. I was more excited about the Laguna Seca race.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt you.
No. So I was very privileged to be in a geographic location that allowed me access to these teams. Yeah. And so I got an internship there in 2013 as a manufacturing engineer. And in my interview, I told them that I did not want to be a manufacturing engineer. I was sure that I wasn't going to get the job then. And they called me back. They had me join. My first day touring the facility, the HR lady at the time, she's walking around. She's like, here's finance, here's the machine shop. In the very back over there where the lights are off, that's race team. Those are the trackside guys. But the lights are off because they're never here. And from day one, I said, that's where I want to be. Not here.
Not here.
Yeah. And so I finished my degree. I did 1.5 years of an internship at Honda, always letting them know what I wanted to do next. And as soon as I graduated, they gave me an opportunity to join the race team as an engine engineer.
1.5 years?
1.5 years of...
as internship. As intern.
The internship, yeah. And again, as a competitive advantage, going into this next role, I had to do more than just being a manufacturing engineer. So in many ways, during my internship, I defined what that role was. So I was building software tools to help engineering and QA. At one point, one of the machinists hurt his eye. He was out for 3 or 4 months.
On the job?
No. Yeah.
Be harsh.
Yeah.
Very precise. Way too hard.
Yeah, but I took responsibilities for about 3 months. I was responsible for post-processing of the camshafts for the IndyCar engines. So I would get in at 6 a.m.
After the race?
Building the engines before the race.
Before the race, okay.
Yeah. By the time the engineers would come in around 9, I was already covered in this powder that we used. But I did it. I was very proud of every job that I ever did. Very hands-on. And this really helped me get my foot in the door in the next role, which is as a race trackside engineer.
And how a trackside engineer works for the engine manufacturer, because you're there providing for 15 cars.
Correct.
So sometimes more. And you're there visiting every single team to see if they install the motor correctly, if they're doing the correct outputs coming out of... Some say that Takuma Sato has a better motor. Is that true? You know that. And you won with Takuma the 500, right?
I did,
yeah. So how you... So let's put you in a big race like the 500. What year Takuma won? 2017. 17 was the last time?
Yeah.
Was the time that was the first time?
That was the first time.
First time that you won. All right. I wasn't there.
First time I won was 16 with Rossi.
With Rossi. That was a 100th, right?
That was a 100th, yeah.
That was a cool race.
That was a great race. Yeah.
I started going on the 18th.
Oh, cool.
2018 was Simon Pagenaud.
Was Pagenaud, yeah.
Yeah, I was there.
18 I was running
and Rossi was second.
at Jones.
Were you running at Jones?
Yeah.
And Rossi was second on that one.
So I won. My driver won 2016, Rossi, and then 17 Takuma.
Twice in a row.
And in 2018, I was in a bar at the hotel with another engineer who's an old timer. He's been there for decades, I think. And we're having a beer, and he's drinking, and he says, "It's like some people spend their whole careers looking for that win, and you got 2." And then he paused, and he was like, "If you win this year, I'm gonna kill you."
But that was before or after the beer? That's if it was before, that's more serious.
Yeah, there was I know there was some bets going on in the background, but Ed Jones that year was the first to DNF.
Yeah.
And the Indy 500 in 2018 was my last race with IndyCar. I went to the UK immediately after the race, so my time at Honda ended early because
Well, 2 out of 3, you're good.
Yeah,
You're exiting with thank you guys, thank you very much.
It was very good, yeah. But it was great to be able to watch the end of the race, because when you're there and you're working the race, it goes by so fast, and by the end of it, you're just breathing and just processing over weeks. And with Ed Jones DNFing so early, and that being my last race, I sat back and enjoyed that 500. And I say this, if you in your lifetime get to choose one race to go to, it's the 500.
Oh yeah.
It's just unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I've been going.
I get goosebumps just remembering that I was there.
I've been going representing a Brazilian outlet as a photographer since 2018. Oh, 19, Simon Pagenaud.
Oh yeah. Cool.
So 5-6 years now.
Awesome.
I didn't win this year. But look, my question is, so you're a Honda trackside engineer. In a race like the 500, are you assigned to one car?
Yes. So
because I see several times people from Honda, especially here in Long Beach, they just go around. The same guys, they go around all the teams.
So the team is usually the way that the structure is you have an engineer that's assigned to each driver specifically for the year.
Didn't know that.
You have one person who kind of oversees the team side, so it's like a program management role for each team, and then you have kind of integration engineers and people that are really compiling all of the data and trying to help the manufacturers find ways to kind of improve through everybody. It's very tricky because there's a lot of information from teams that are specific to the teams. You can't share.
Yeah.
Obviously, car setup. Even though the engineers at Honda are working together in the same office
And sharing the same beer.
sharing the same beer.
Oh.
But this is a lot of people don't realize that teams don't actually own the engines. So they lease the engines from the manufacturers. So Ganassi, for example, might lease an engine from Honda. Honda runs the engine. So anytime that the engine turns over or fires up, one Honda engineer is there plugged into the car watching.
So the Honda engineer has a desk over there at Chip Ganassi.
Typically, they'll have they'll have an area.
Toolbox.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Very interesting. And how many engines a driver runs through the year normally? Is it only 2 when they refurbish it, or just?
No. So IndyCar will seal the engines.
Yeah.
And so there's certain service items that are allowed through the season. So spark plug changes, funnels is one that we do a lot at IndyCar. I can talk more about that, but anything really kind of deeper in, you have to break a seal, an IndyCar seal, and if you do that, then you get some sort of a penalty. You're only allowed a certain amount of engines per year. I honestly don't remember what the regulations are anymore in that regards.
But in Formula 1, when they say, they have to change the engine, the power unit, so it's going back to the grid, that's the penalty.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's something similar to IndyCar?
Yes, yeah.
So when you break the seal, doesn't mean that you change the whole unit. You're just replacing or fixing that one.
A lot of times, if you're going to break the seal, you might as well just give them a new engine. Yeah. So
very interesting.
Yeah. Now there are ways that you can break the seal within the rules. So, for example, if a driver complains of down on power, a DOP complaint. So a team says, "Hey, we don't believe that this engine is producing the advertised power."
The advertised power is good.
Yeah. So Honda leases an engine
that
says,
"Is that the term?"
Yeah.
Advertised power.
Yeah. So Honda leases an engine says, "Here's the power we make." Right. That's why they choose the Honda engine, and power and reliability. And so if the engine isn't making that power, the team has the right to file a DOP complaint. And in that case, then IndyCar will take that engine out of running. They'll send it back to the dyno, supervised by IndyCar officials.
But if that happens during the weekend?
They'll get a replacement engine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But what happens is they'll run the engine on the dyno, and they will then verify if the DOP complaint is good or not. So the team has to put a deposit down, many thousands of dollars. The manufacturer does the same. And at the end, if the engine is producing the power, then the team loses that money. And so I've had, I don't know, maybe 50 DOP complaints informally over my time. And then when push comes to shove, I'm going to say, okay, go for it.
Where's the money?
They always find some chassis, we're scrubbing the floor too much. Or my time has never been the engine. In fact, the engine often starts to make more power as it kind of goes through the season.
Oh,
and so
kind of break-ins and
So I've never actually experienced an official DOP complaint. I think a lot of the teams, they want us to really double check our work, which we do all the time.
Is that your shake our hand? Or...
Yes, it's my shake.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's not an earthquake. It's not an earthquake.
I thought it was an earthquake.
Sure. Calm down, Carlos.
Oh my God. Should brace into something.
Okay, so in the middle of this season, or was the last season, they installed the hybrid system on the IndyCar cars, right? And suddenly, in the middle of the season, that was kind of odd, right?
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, Chevy and Honda, they have everything installed, everything was working, and everything was the same. How is this possible?
So
they worked together on that one, right?
I can't really comment too much because I haven't been a part of the development of that. But what I can say happens is usually before something goes to the public, there's an extensive amount of testing that's done. Sometimes even over a year's worth of testing.
And why in the middle of the season, just to make more confusion?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That was bad.
Yeah.
So,
but the middle of the season upgrades are the most exciting from the engineering point of view, because we're having to learn on the spot, and it's cool. Really great.
So, in case of a crash, like in a crash that the engine is damaged, Is that something that Honda will automatically put a new engine on, or something that the team has to pay, or how?
Oh, good question. I don't actually remember.
I was there when Juncos
Yeah.
crashed on the day before qualifying, and they overnight to put a new tube together.
Yeah.
And I saw the car. The car was completely nothing can use. So it's probably a brand new car.
Yeah.
And in a rush like that, you just call Honda. Look, I need an engine right away.
Yeah. Honda and Ilmor, Chevy, they both have a surplus of engines, especially in IndyCar, because they do crash so
500,
hard. Yeah. So I don't know exactly who pays for it. It's a good question. But yeah, it's very easy to do an engine swap. And if there's ever any question, so one thing that the engineers will see right away after a crash is, did the engine spin backwards? So sometimes if the anti-stall doesn't kick in, the clutch doesn't open, the car rolls backwards in gear, and it drives the engine to spin backwards.
The transmission is done.
Transmission might be, but the dangerous part is that the oil pump doesn't work in reverse, and
so it's damaged.
So you might actually be running the engine without pumping oil through it. So there's some parameters that we used to look at. So if the engine ran backwards for more than a couple of seconds, that's a red flag, and we say, you know what, we're just going to quarantine this engine and put a new one. But we do make a really thorough inspection after crashes, both on the data side and mechanically visual inspections of everything we can do. And oftentimes we can tell right away that the engine, is going to be fine. There's nothing too bad about it.
So right now, Carlos, I prepared this great transition. Check it out. So how can you compare an IndyCar engine to a Formula 1 power unit? Isn't it great? Now we're talking about Formula 1. Come on.
So
it's you cannot compare, right? You're talking about a V8, American V8 compared to a hybrid Mercedes, whatever.
But
is the core the same? Is there anything similar?
So people don't realize how little development there has been in internal combustion engines since the 40s. So the combustion engine has been optimized greatly, significantly over the decades. But really the majority of the work was done back during World War I and World War II. And the reason is that the thing that most drives innovation is not money. Money is the least influential in innovation. It's the fear of dying, basically, right?
Could be much faster.
So if you think of a plane during the World War I or II, if you were able to fly for longer, so better fuel efficiency, higher, so better use of the air, faster, more power. If you were able to have those attributes in your favor, it would increase your chances of coming home, right?
Yeah.
And so the combustion engine,
or putting a bomb in a bigger distance.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was something what kind of won the war, the Second War, when they discovered a way to change the engine on that Mustang for a Bentley, for a Rolls Royce, and then it could longer to follow the bombers.
Yeah. So the majority of the development in the combustion engine is actually, kind of stopped. And so when you look at the gains that you have within a Formula One or an IndyCar engine from the combustion side, we're trying for small things here and there. So a huge development has been the pre-chamber spark plugs, or the pre-chamber combustion system, which is amazing. So you take this the flame that's generated through just a regular spark plug, propagates in a sphere, and the edge of the flame is really what the work that you can use for making power. And the surface areas, I'm going to get really nerdy here for just a second, but the surface area of a sphere is the minimum surface area you can have for any three-dimensional object. So it's actually quite inefficient. You don't get a lot of surface area in the sphere. And with the technology of pre-chamber combustion, you change this flame front from a sphere into a disc. The surface area of a disc is much higher per volume. And so you can optimize the propagation of the flame through through the combustion chamber, and you have significant gains. And in IndyCar, we had this development, and I remember at the time we advertised to the team. The teams don't necessarily know what we're doing, exactly, but we went to them and we said, hey, we're going to do this upgrade on the engines, and it's going to give you more power and better fuel efficiency. And they all rolled their eyes and they're like, yeah, right. Yeah, it's the holy grail, more power and better fuel efficiency. And it was after the race where all the teams basically missed, they
mismanaged
the fuel consumption. Yeah, like on the safe side, that they came back to us and were like, what the hell did you guys do?
We still have 5 liters here.
Yeah. So there's still some great advances that we find on the combustion side. And between IndyCar and F1, they're very similar, actually. So,
but you do this kind of change in the middle of the season?
Yeah, we did that one, yeah.
When was that?
That was 17, yeah.
And then Honda just did it, and then Chevy just like, oh, well.
So we knew Chevy was doing it too. They were trying, but you could hear it.
Do you guys get along?
Yeah.
But there is competition there,
Of course, yeah.
Because in IndyCar, there's no team championship. There's engine championship, right?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, the manufacturer championship. Yeah, I mean, people think that, racing, what motivates you is winning. It's not. What motivates you is losing, So when we had to...
It's a good one. It's a good quote. It's a good quote.
Yeah. It's really good. I gotta make a t-shirt.
Yeah. Oliveira, Luiz.
It's great when you're winning. It's terrible when you're walking home after Chevy just got, locked the podium, and you worked so hard. And we used to walk, like if you go to Long Beach, you'll see that the Chevy trucks are always next to the exit. And that means you have to walk right past them, it's terrible. So,
but you as a engine manufacturer, you can always blame the driver, the team, the tire. You can choose what you want to blame, right?
Yeah, there's a level of detachment as you go through, like being in a manufacturer side, that you can have that detachment and just say, I kind of hedge your bets. Any Honda car that wins, right? But you never. I don't think it works that way with most people. The thirst to win and kind of the pain of losing doesn't really get diluted too much when you're in a manufacturer, especially in a trackside role. You feel just as strongly as a team when you lose, and you feel just as strongly when you win.
You're
as well.
Part of the team now.
Yeah.
That's why you're assigned for the whole year.
Yeah.
Isn't it a pain in the ass to follow the whole season?
So when I don't want to tell people what I do, I just tell them I work in a circus.
The motorsport circus.
Yeah.
It's kind of pain in the ass, right? Hotels and deal with everything.
I thought that I would do this forever.
Really?
Yeah. And
after the second season, come on, same places, same hotels.
When I joined the race team, the HR lady at Honda, she gave me all the paperwork, and then she said, "You're not going to last 1 year."
She made a dent on you. Like you still remember her.
Yeah, I was like,
so far, I haven't speak about Lewis Hamilton, Toto Wolff, Valtteri Bottas, but the HR lady from Honda, she's traumatized you, man.
She's a person that I respect so much.
She's still there.
She's still there. Okay. I still speak with her.
Hi, HR Honda lady.
every year, I would send her an email. Even when I went to Formula One, I would send her an email.
Just saying, I remember you.
I'm still loving it.
There you go. There you go.
But there are people who have what it takes and who like it. There are people who don't, and I think that's perfectly fine. I thought I was going to be a lifer until COVID. COVID kind of forced everyone to stay home, and I realized for the first time how good it is to stay home. I don't think I would go back to a trackside role to that extent because it is grueling.
Yeah.
And now with a family, kids, especially with young kids, it's very difficult. You're seeing your colleagues more than you're seeing your family.
I'm not that involved and I do Long Beach for 6 years in a row. There was a year there was 2 Long Beach races. Remember that? They blocked because of COVID, so they did 2, or
okay.
they replaced some. So
Yeah.
I live 7 minutes from the track, and I cannot get anymore. It's like it's the same. As a photographer, it's the same spots, the same people, same pictures. They don't even know which year that, just by delivery, but delivery barely changed.
But the trick for me has always been, oh my God, I have another quick story from the HR lady at Honda.
There you go.
When I was signing all the paperwork, she said, it's a lot of work, but when you're at the 500, take 15 minutes and then go right back to work. And I was like, okay. Why am I taking 15 minutes? She's like, take 15 minutes to just realize where you are.
Yeah.
But then go back to work.
Yeah.
And I did that with every race. So for me, it was always important. The mechanics of the trackside roll, it does get old. Sometimes you go to the hotel and you don't even remember hearing a car go by. You're like, wow, I'm here. I don't even remember hearing a car go by, especially in F1 where the office is not exactly.
No.
So for me, making it work was always remembering that this is actually really fun and living in the moment when you're there and everything is piling up and you got a team owner that's yelling at you, the vein coming out of his forehead. You gotta always
within a reason.
Yeah. Well, many times. Yeah.
Many times.
Yeah. But you always got to remember where you are at. And sometimes all it takes, you take a breath, you look around.
Yeah, how cool is this
Yeah,
place? I remember those 200,000 people who wanted your place when it was 8 years old.
Exactly.
And said, let me do this, and I'm finally doing it.
Yeah. So I recommend to anybody that wants to go into motorsports, I recommend them doing a stint as a trackside engineer because it really does give you it's a privilege to be there. I mean, there's thousands of people that work in making a race happen. And if you look at the small percentage of people that get to be at the track, it's a privilege, And if you can get yourself in there, then do it with all the passion, everything that you have, and it'll be something you'll have with you for the rest of your life. I loved it.
Besides the HR trauma.
But
But by the way, I'm not crying. It's very emotional, but I'm not crying. I have something on my eye. I swear I'm not crying. Yeah, something on my eye. I took you out of that spark disc thing. I remember they were talking that in mid-season you guys developed with Honda the spark that goes on the disc and have more air, you save fuel. Coming to fuel, how accurate is what the broadcasting is telling us?
Oh,
To the real amount of gas you have in the car.
So you ask about the difference between F1 and IndyCar.
Yeah.
And IndyCar, you have a big hose that goes in and you measure how many seconds of fuel
There's
goes in
that
there.
splat of water after
Yeah.
that, so people catch on fire.
And it's like, you're going like this sometime. You don't measure fuel level in IndyCar. All you measure is the collector level. So when the fuel is at the very end, it goes into this little reservoir that says, hey, this is the last little bit that you have. It scavenges everything that kind of goes around because of the G's. And it pumps it into this container. And when everything else is done in the fuel tank, that collector level starts going down.
And you know how many laps you have there.
Exactly, yeah. And so in my computer...
So there's no strategy, we're going to get to those. We don't know how many. If you have 20 laps, you don't know that you have 20 laps until it hits that container.
You have a pretty good idea. But there's a lot of errors that can kind of, happen that you might not have gotten the fuel fill that you thought you did in IndyCar. In Formula One, it's a completely different ballpark because you have a fuel bowser and you're measuring how many grams of fuel you're putting in the car. So
Why you don't have the technology in IndyCar?
Because you got to go fast.
So they take all the way to possible and then that's it.
Well, no. I mean, in IndyCar, you got to put fuel in fast, right?
Oh, for the end.
Yeah, you just got to drop the fuel in as fast as you can and go.
You have no refueling in Formula One anymore.
In Formula One, we don't have refueling. So when you put your fuel for Formula One, you're measuring how many grams. And in fact, in 2019 with Valtteri,
I heard about that.
yeah, we have. So Lewis Hamilton's engineer and me, we worked very closely together during the race, learning from each other. And during practice session, we have the drivers drive different types of laps that they're going to be driving in qualifying, and then we can learn how much fuel they use individually for.
What do you mean? You mean just Valtteri, just go further on that corner, just accelerate before?
No, we'll do do a push lap with full deployment. Now do a charge lap at the slowest possible speed that the FIA allows you. So there's like certain types of laps.
Charge lap means
do.
charge the battery.
Charge the battery,
And
yeah.
the full is just full mode, whatever is the number on the steering wheel.
And like, for example, qualifying 3, usually the driver will have 2 sessions. They'll go out, do 1 fast lap, they come back in. And then they go out, they do 1 fast lap, they come back in.
They do that because of tires?
Yes, yeah. And fuel. So you put only enough fuel for that 1 fast lap and the 1 in lap back to the box. But the first of the 2 on Q3, you have to kind of come back quickly because the time is clicking. The final one, after the checkered flag, qualifying is done, you want to go as slow as possible. So you use as little fuel as possible. But the FIA has a minimum time. So the driver...
Question. You use the minimum fuel as possible because the car is already done for the race.
Exactly. The car is done. There's no more time.
There's no more refueling. Like the gas that you have there is going to do the race.
No. The gas, you fill up for the race.
Yeah.
But for qualifying, you just put as little as you can for weight.
But there was one year that the qualifying fuel was the fuel that are going to start the race.
No.
Never happened?
Not for
Good rule.
Well, so we get to qualifying, and me and Lewis's engineer, we have different fuel numbers that we want to put in for the car, and I have 140 grams less fuel than she did for Hamilton's car, and she's telling me, she's like, 140 grams is the weight of a pencil, maybe, so it's not much. No, 140 grams is nothing. No.
10 of a kilo. 15% of a kilo.
Yeah. And she's like, you should
redo your stuff.
You should redo your stuff. And I was like, no, I'm confident. Valtteri's driving this a little bit better. And so we did quali, and Valtteri got pole in 2019 by six thousandths of a second.
Which race was that?
Silverstone.
6,000
of a second, he got pole.
It's like Leo's pole in Silverstone.
And if you look at our sensitivities from simulation, the difference of 6,000ths of a second is 140 grams of weight. And so, Ricky, Valtteri's main race engineer, he sent an email later. He said, this one goes to Luis, because I held that 140 grams less. So, to answer your question, very long story, fueling is very, very important, but it's a lot more accurate in Formula One, just because you don't have to go as fast during.
140 grams is not a sandwich that Lewis had the day before.
Exactly, yeah, or a watch that he's wearing. Yeah.
Do you still race with watches?
No, usually it's just the glove that has.
Used to.
Yeah.
Not long ago.
Yeah. But it's, does it really make 6,000ths of a second? No, not really. But when you take everything as seriously as that, then it adds up. And that's what Mercedes does so well, is if it says that that's the case in simulation, and you take it as reality, then you have maybe 20 different sensitivities that affect lap time. And it's 6,000ths there, it's 12 here, 5 there. Is it exactly? No, but do they add up? Yeah, they usually add up pretty well. And so that's one reason I think Mercedes is so good, is because they don't leave anything on the table. And that's really cool.
But don't you think that all the teams are that anal about those kind of stuff right now? Like, of course, if you go to a smaller team, maybe they don't have the manpower to do it.
Yeah.
But if you compare McLaren and Mercedes and Red Bull and, I don't know, maybe Aston Martin, they have the people now and the money. Yeah. Don't you think that they just...
I hope so, yeah. I'd hope so.
Because they have to learn, right? They need to know, because today you don't see that much of a difference in a car. It's just so close. Like at least 4 or 5 teams, they're so close. Yeah. And then you have other variants like the driver. Like, I think that the level of engineer is very, very, very close.
There's another thing that happens in F1, which is it's very inbred. So you got to remember, before Brexit, if you wanted to work in the UK and you were not European, you had to prove that you had skills that other people don't have, a job. It was very difficult.
Special visa, yeah.
Yeah. And I managed to get that, but it was very difficult. So most people just get hired from Europe. And so you have this inbred where somebody comes from Ferrari and then they go to Ferrari.
Yeah,
and
look
then
at Mackey's from Red Bull now.
Yeah, exactly.
He was all around. He was in Ferrari a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
He was in Ferrari in 2019 when the engine scandal happened.
Yeah, exactly. So you have a lot of cross-pollination, and so things end up kind of looking the same. The processes are kind of the same. They all converge to something that's really good. But the teams that I think stay ahead are the ones that are able to adapt and keep up, but then on top of that, to innovate. And I think that's what makes a difference between the teams that are really outstanding. So that's Red Bull in the Vettel days, Mercedes for 8 years,
then
Verstappen with Red Bull, and now we're seeing McLaren do that. So I think this is what really makes a difference between the 5 ones that are close, like you said, but then that one real standout one that just stands out.
Why do you think McLaren's earning their spot right now?
Oh, I don't know.
No?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been as
They suffered
close.
a lot.
Huh?
They suffered a lot.
They do, yeah. And
I saw an interview with Zach Brown. He was saying that when he got there, everybody was blaming Honda because they have this inside attitude saying like, we know everything. That's the problem, is not with us. We are a victorious team. We have this beautiful building and we know everything. So he kind of had to turn around saying, look, the problem is with us, not with our suppliers.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and maybe that's some sort of a collective culture around the building that maybe.
Yeah, I think the culture is a huge part in.
But that's interesting that you say that everybody they exchange jobs.
Yeah.
And they all around. So have an engineer that's probably on the 4th or 5th team.
Yeah.
I saw this a lot in IndyCar because the same mechanic is driving.
Exactly,
They just go around with the best deal.
And in Formula One, they do a really good job at having gardening leaves in their contract. So if you're going from one team to the other, depending on your function, you might be anywhere from 3 months to 12 months of gardening leave where you can't move teams without getting into potentially legal trouble. So that helps, but ultimately it does come back. But this engine builder at Honda, who was kind of pivotal to my development as an engineer. His name is Chris Fox, and he told me something that I remember all the time. If you're serious about going into motorsports as a career, you got to understand that the majority of your career you will lose. That's motorsports. Yeah, the majority of your career you'll lose. And I think it becomes a little bit dangerous when you win too much for too long. Because people start feeling that winning is something that you're entitled to, and that's never the case.
Yep.
So that was a little bit of a shock to me when I went to Mercedes, because at Honda we had some really big wins, but most of the time we were losing. And suddenly I get to a team where it's expected to win, and then when every now and then we didn't, people were like really upset. And it's like, yeah, I get the upset, but I didn't feel like they were upset for the right reasons,
They're entitled. They're entitled to
Yeah,
win.
it was weird. Yeah. But Mercedes has such a core of these old school guys that are just so good.
Were they inherited from Brown GP?
Yeah, a lot of them, yeah.
Still there.
Yeah. In fact, when you go to Brackley, a lot of the dyno equipment and such, they still have stickers from Honda.
From Honda
Yeah.
before Brown GP.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, that Honda team sucked. Remember that? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
The decorations, the rolled piece, whatever they call it. Well, that was horrible. Well, but turns out.
It is, it is, I have to say that the culture, the knowledge, the professionalism of Mercedes, and especially being in a trackside role where you get to sit next to guys like Andrew Shovlin, and it's just, those guys are so good. Those guys are real racers. And that's what I really like. I like to be around real You don't need real racers all across the organization. You need some
some nerds,
real
some
creative nerds.
creative, yeah.
You know, some
But the
people
real
that don't
racers
know a
should
thing
be
about
there.
cars, but the real racers, you know, the guys that are in pit wall that are making the strategy calls, guys and girls actually. I mean, there's
Yeah.
in the F1, I think the diversity is a lot more than IndyCar, unfortunately for IndyCar, but the women in F1 are, I can never compare to any of the girls that I ever worked with. They're so good.
Yeah.
Real racers, you know, and so Mercedes had that, and that was a real privilege for me to work with and to learn from them, and yeah, just that's a huge reason why they went.
How was your life in England? Did you live close by to the HQs or?
I did, yeah. So I worked for Mercedes High Performance Powertrains, which is the power unit division of Mercedes, who provides the power units to the works team, but all the other, you know, McLaren. They're located in Brixworth, but I was assigned to be engineer for the works team, and they're based in Brackley. So I was always in between. So I lived in Northampton, which is about halfway from each. It's about 30 minutes from Brixworth or 30 minutes from Brackley. But most of the time I was traveling. So, you know, whenever I wasn't traveling for work, I was traveling with my wife around Europe just for fun.
That's good.
So
Before the kids.
my record is in 15 months, I did 43 international trips.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. Oh my God.
One time I
Well,
landed.
there's no way to keep this up in 5-6 years.
It's a lot. Yeah,
it's a lot.
The good thing is European races, we consider them to be local races, even though it might be in Italy. It's just a 2.5 hour flight.
Yeah.
And
you have the whole motorhome and the whole structures there, right? When it comes to here, it's kind of a
It's basically your home in the European races, and very often we fly private. So it's not, you know, the small tiny jets. They're bigger, but it's from a private terminal. You leave the race, you go right into the airplane. You get home by the time to watch the
replay,
the highlights.
Yeah, the highlights.
So
it's good.
It's good, but then Monday you're back at the office doing the performance reviews and everything. So.
Oh wow! But so during the race, you go to the circuit with your bag already. You check out at the hotel. You don't come back to the hotel.
Yeah,
that sucks. Yeah. Not even shower, man.
Yeah, I mean and in Formula One you have your clothes picked for you for every type of occasion. Really? So you have your travel clothes, you have pajamas that you wear on the plane.
With Mercedes on it?
Tommy,
on the plane?
Yeah.
You have your pajamas on the plane?
In fact, one time we came to the garage, and there was a bunch of boxes of underwear, Tommy Hilfiger underwear, spread throughout the whole garage.
Sponsor, yeah.
And so we get in, and you're logging into your email, and there's an email from the marketing people, and they said, hey, yesterday there was a TV camera showing the cars, and one of the mechanics was bending down, and you could see his underwear, and it wasn't Tommy. So please, if you have a function where your underwear might show, only wear this underwear.
You know what will be my reply, right? My reply will be, are you sure those are new? That's the only thing I want to know. As soon as you confirm I'm wearing it.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So but you're an engineer, so you have those kind of perks to go straight to the good nice hotel. What about the mechanics and those guys doing the traveling?
The mechanics have it really, really rough. And those guys are the real heroes. People don't realize that a Formula One car, when it arrives at the track, an Indy car, when it arrives at the track, it rolls out of the trailer. Yeah, it's a full car. A Formula One car, when it rolls out of the truck, it's in boxes. It's literally in boxes. And so they build the car from scratch every race.
Come on, let me see. Let's see, Valtteri won the Silverstone 2019, right?
Yeah.
Perfect car. Don't touch it. You guys disassemble the whole thing, put it in box, and put it back together. If it's not the same.
But it is, because
here
the processes...
in Slotcars we have to say, don't touch it.
Yeah.
So you have to take it off, put it in a DHL boxes and ship it out. And
but you don't do that just because you got to ship it out, but you do that because you want to have a very thorough inspection of all the components after a race. Because it might be a great setup, but your suspension, your push rod might be have a crack
And
in
how
it.
precise is the setup for the next race? If you want to
Extremely.
just copy, like by the turn of the
Extremely precise, yeah.
by the turn of the screw, like
Yeah.
2 turns here, 3 turns there.
And it's not measured by a human anymore. So it's all done with a quality management system that measures the torque on each bolt,
Yeah.
the sequence of each bolt.
Yeah, the 6 that you put together is part. Yeah.
In 2019, you guys okay if I kind of tell these stories?
I'm gonna open a Coke. Go ahead.
We had
You want a Coke?
no, I'm okay, thanks though.
Yeah, sure. Oh yeah, story time.
So you have
We have a very stressful week here.
oh yeah.
So we're just starting, so let's open it. It's a beer.
Oh, what's your time? Are we have a time limit?
If you have time, we have time.
Preseason testing in Barcelona in 2019 is so you test Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Hot as hell. Super
Cold.
hot.
No, cold. Yeah, very
Cold.
cold. Yeah, very cold.
That influences a lot.
Yeah. Influences how comfortable you are. It's terrible.
The car too. Tires.
Yeah.
Everything.
No, but yeah, so it's 4 days of running, then you go home for the weekend, and then you come back, you have 4 days of running. So it's 8 total days of running. And 1 car per team, and so the drivers swap. One day it's Valtteri, one day it's Luiz.
Sometimes a new driver.
Sometimes a new driver. But in 2019, I think we failed 7 engines or 8 engines in 8 days. It's crazy.
So you almost lost your job. I'm sorry if you don't know.
But
I'm telling you now.
yeah. I mean, we had this situation when we found out what the problem was. And if you guys ever watched Apollo 13, or if you know about Apollo 13, when they had to fit this square filter on this round hole, and they called the engineers at home base, and they said, okay, you have some time to do this because they're running out of oxygen. And so what do they have? Well, we have a roll of duct tape, a couple rubber bands, and they're walking through these steps with the engineers. The astronauts are walking through these steps. Okay, now cut this plastic bag into this shape. Now
That happened.
So we did that. Yeah.
You MacGyvered the shit out of it.
Yeah, it was the way that we were doing oil changes. So in Formula One, you do oil changes all the time. Not only because you want new oil in it, but you also want to understand the behavior of the oil through the use of the engine.
Do you analyze the oil?
You analyze the oil, you have
So
Petronas
you have
there.
a machine that is going to analyze the one.
Yeah.
All the teams do that?
Yeah.
Because Petronas is also a sponsor.
So Petronas is a sponsor, but they're a significant development partner.
Mm-hmm.
And then for Ferrari, Shell, so everyone has in the box they have an area for the oil people basically.
Just like the tires people.
Yeah. And so it was something of how we were draining the oil. It was pushing some debris off the wrong side of the filter. So we had to put positive pressure on one side, negative pressure on the other. We had this crank mechanism. You know, we eventually designed something that made it better. But in this case, it was...
Took the car to Jiffy Lube.
Yeah.
Hey guys, can you help with this?
But it was, it was really intense. So we finally fixed that problem. And when we get to Melbourne 2019, I don't think many people know this, but when the car leaves for practice 1, when it leaves the box, that engine goes into the allocation of engines allowed.
First time on track.
First time on
touching.
track. So if the engine fails before that, then
We're good.
we're good, right? But it has to fail before race 1.
So that week in Barcelona, you guys have 8 engines available.
Yeah.
Shit. So you're just burning to see what was going to happen.
Yeah, it was...
Just
I mean,
full mold.
they're shipping engines.
So Barcelona means full mold, attack all the time?
No. In fact, a lot of running in Barcelona is actually turning down because you don't want to show your cards to the competitors. So oftentimes you'll run...
Sandbagging.
Yeah, exactly. So you'll run new tires, but with a reduced engine power. Or you'll run...
Old tires with full tank.
Yeah, full tank. Or high power with full tank or old tires. But in the first race of the season, you're allowed to do your first fire up 48 hours before practice 1. For all the other races, it's 24 hours. For Melbourne, it's 48 because it's the first race of the season. So I fired the Valtteri's engine. We had all this stress from Barcelona and everything. This is my first race running this car alone. And the engine fires up, I'm looking at the data, and then it goes, "Bam," and it turns off. So the mechanic goes in, he takes the starter, he puts it on the back thing, he presses the starter, and the starter's broken. It doesn't work. And he's like, "Oh, the starter's broken, let me go get another one."
How come?
One of the
Mercedes.
One of the other mechanics came by and he said, "Hey, are you sure it's the starter? Are you sure it's not the engine that seized?" Like,
First
let's
race.
hand crank it.
But that's before touching the track. Okay,
yeah.
which is still good.
So we hand crank the engine and the engine is seized. And it's like, what in the world? And this is my first time. So everyone is looking at me. And I'm looking at
the time, you don't mess with the engine allocation, but the time is running, right?
The time is running, yeah. And it's like, what? We failed an engine within a minute of running. And so, we do this big investigation, and thank God I did everything correct. The first thing you think is like, did you remember to check the oil level? No, everything was good. But
how does happen? Somebody just question your stuff, or somebody's auditing you? Is this like engineer in the back of you auditing?
I mean, if there's an engine failure, you have everybody. Everybody is on alert.
Even Toto.
In Brixworth, in Brackley, everybody's online, and everyone's helping you. It's not about blaming. It's about like, let's figure out how it happened. But it turned out that during the assembly of the engine, when you're tightening, I think it was the connecting rods, so the big ends. When you're tightening that and you're measuring the clearance and everything, the engine is fixed to the ground. And when they were tightening it, the fixture moved, and so they had to tighten it twice.
And then you have one point that it has more pressure than the other. And so they went through the build. Is that precise?
Yeah, so they went through the build information for all the other engines that were built. There was one other engine that had that because they note it. If something happens that's out of process, they'll note it. How do they find out? Because the build mechanic is
like every screw that you put out, you have to put notes on
every single one. Yeah.
This has how much grams of pressure?
It's usually automated, right? If everything goes well, it's all stored automatically via the robots, the tools that you're using. Yeah. But if something goes out of process, then they'll note it and they'll say, "Hey, I had to torque this twice." So they knew before putting on the track that something was not ordinary, but they didn't know that will cause. Yeah, because it should be fine. Yeah, there's a lot of little unordinary things that happen. It's like, somebody dropped a bolt. Okay, you're gonna take it and put it in, and it's not a big deal. Clean. Yeah, we obviously didn't think this was going to be a big deal, but two of the engines had this problem. There's something wrong with the fixture, and the other engine ended up failing too during the season. And were you working on the engines for the other teams too? No. Not even putting together and sending out? No. Do they have the same problem? Because by the time you have McLaren, Williams... We had McLaren, Force India, I think. Force India. Yeah. But yeah, so it's very precise. Very, very precise. And it's hand-built, but it's that precise. How long it takes to change an engine? So I said that the car comes in a box and it leaves in a box. But what a lot of people don't know is that in between, the car gets disassembled and reassembled. So practice 1 and practice 2, the car runs. After practice 2 on Friday, we take the car completely apart. And then we put the car completely back together. It's impossible to have the same setup. Can you imagine finishing up practicing 2 and first, and the car is great, and then let's take it out, let's see what's going on. Come on. Yeah. And you put it back together, the same thing. Together. Yeah. The driver doesn't feel a thing. No. Wow. Fucking hell. And so everybody in the Formula One circuit, they have a Friday counter. How many Fridays are left in the season? Because Friday you get in really early, and then you can't leave until you do your first fire up after the rebuild. Yeah. So after practice 2, they immediately start taking the car apart. Jesus Christ. Then they put it all back together. The whole car? The engine out? Engine out, yeah. Wow. Battery out, everything. So then they put it all together. Then the engine engineers will have to check all the high voltage side of the car, do all the safety checks, and then we do our fire ups, and then we do oil changes. So we run the engine, we charge the battery, So,
And you, as in your role, you have to be involved in this.
oh yeah. So Fridays are easily
How many hours do you
16
work? 16 hours?
16, 17-hour days every Friday.
So Friday is the worst day.
Friday's the worst day.
So when you see somebody crashing a car on a Thursday, and think people on the broadcast say, "Oh, they're gonna have a long night."
Friday's always a long night. Saturday's a great day. If you qualify, you don't crash. The
Park ferment. That's
park
it. You don't
ferment.
touch.
Yeah, you can't touch the car unless there's a change of climatic conditions. So if it's scheduled to rain on Sunday,
Then you can touch the car.
then you can touch it, and then because you can touch it, engineers will always do as much as they can, right? So,
But then you do tires and you probably do some suspension if you
Yeah.
have rain, right?
yeah, cooling.
So,
There's the hardest part of my job is cooling. There's maybe like 100 permutations of cooling configurations for any car.
until you can touch the car.
Yeah, so you have to make your decision on cooling on Saturday.
Because you can't start to disassemble if it's not on the right temperature, right? It's gonna fuck it up all the screws and
No, you can't.
rods and shit.
The thing is, you can't go as fast as you want. So there's a trade-off between aerodynamics and cooling. So you want to have the car as blocked up as possible.
I'm sorry, I was talking about another thing.
I
was talking about when you get the car hot, you need to wait until a certain temperature so you can turn them apart, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was
But no, but it's quick. The cooling down is quick. Yeah.
Okay, cooling down. All right. So the cooling and aerodynamics. So
The aerodynamics and cooling is the big, because if you have a car that's completely blocked up, so the radiators are with the smallest gaps, and the car is going to be better aerodynamically, but you might over temp any of the different parameters on the engine. And so if you're doing qualifying, and qualifying is expected to be really cold, then you want to block up the car as much as possible to get your fastest qualifying. But because you can't touch the car after qualifying, if Sunday's forecast to be really hot, then you shoot yourself in the foot on Sunday. So you have to sacrifice your qualifying performance because you can't overheat during the race. Now, when I say really hot or really cold, we were looking into differences sometimes of 3-4 degrees between Saturday and Sunday. So it's like, okay, we're going to be 4 degrees hotter on Sunday.
How you get cooling down with aerodynamics? You're going to have like a different side pod, a different wing.
Yeah.
So you have options.
A million options.
Like proper carbon fiber pieces available so you can change stuff.
There are the permutations of cooling configurations are insane. There's so many. So you have the nomenclature, this is A25
But that's
OC.
regulation on the proper piece, or you have different pieces?
Different
available?
pieces, yeah.
So you have like a truck of side pods.
Oh, yeah. And
Available everywhere.
Now, Park Fermi says you can't touch the car until the green flag. So you can make changes after the start of the race.
Yeah.
So if you have planned a short first stint, and you think you're going to be ahead, so you have clean air, you might risk going a little bit more blocked. And then during the pit stop, you can have a cooling configuration
on the wing.
Things that are manually changeable. So the guys in the pit stop will rip out a blocker in the car, for example, and that will bring temperatures down by so many degrees. So the cooling configuration is a huge portion. I mean, in Austria in 2019 was the first race that we didn't win that season. I think it was race 9.
Austria.
It was hot, and we were at the most open configuration possible. And I was having to ask Valtteri to lift and coast 400 meters into the turn, which means that 400 meters before you would typically brake, Valtteri would have to lift just to manage cooling. And we didn't have any...
Lost the performance or time.
No, we were terrible. We lost the race.
Oh, the guy has 400 meters.
But we had to compromise that much. Yeah. We were lifting, coasting, 10% of the lap. It was crazy.
Is he that precise?
So we measure lift and coast, and I can see it on the data. And so if I say, I'll usually call in round numbers. I'll say 50 meters lift and coast. He might actually be doing 70 meters, but I'll offset my, so it's like, okay, I know he's doing 70. I need a little bit more.
His head is 100.
Yeah, exactly.
So just go for it.
But he is precise. He is He's precise but not accurate.
Yes.
It's
So he's going to
difficult.
do, you ask for 100 and he's going to do 70, 70, 70, 77.
Exactly.
And then
Yeah. Now, if I correct him and I say a
120.
little bit more,
then you get your 100.
then I'll get 100, and I don't stay at 100. They are really good.
Is that the difference about a good driver and a bad driver?
Yes.
That's why people want to have people with experience on their team?
The processing speed of these people's brains is superhuman. It's superhuman.
Not only reflex, just...
And because we have so many sensors, you can actually measure the reaction time between the different sides of your brain, and it's not understandable. You think you're going at the end of the straight, you're going so fast. Things are passing by you extremely fast. If you ever look at tire marks, you go to a track day, like an amateur track day, and you look at the tire marks of where people are braking, and they'll vary by maybe 20 meters, Sometimes they brake later, sometimes they brake earlier. If you look at the tire marks in a Formula 1 track, they'll vary by 20 centimeters, It's crazy, lap by lap. And it's the same with the MotoGP guys. I mean, those guys are even more insane, in my opinion, because they don't have a safety net. There's no cage around them.
Yeah, bumpers or hat.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that all of the 20 drivers that we have, they all can achieve basically the same speed, but the difference is how they work with their engineers to try to fine-tune the car and the race?
I think that there's definitely better drivers and worse drivers.
Okay.
And there's better drivers at certain things and worse drivers at certain things. So there's definitely the driver component is huge. But the difference is when you can combine the good driver, the good team, and the consistent driver and the consistent team. Like you said, we take the cars apart and put them back together every race. If you're not consistent, you're going to add a variable.
Yeah.
And what you want is you want to minimize the variables. You want to go into the race knowing if there's no external factors, you know exactly where you're going to start, exactly where you're going to end, And that's the beauty with F1.
Especially because of the simulations too, like
Exactly.
You have our information. So for you, if you see the first 2 laps, you know what's going to happen already.
We calibrate per lap. So, from the engine perspective, we're looking at stabilization temperatures. So by usually the 5th lap, we know if we were right or if we were wrong on our prediction.
Uh-huh.
It's like, okay, cool, this is going to be okay.
But then if you combine to the other sectors of the
Exactly.
engineer with tire, aerodynamics and fuel consumption, you know the result.
Yeah. Now, what gets you is that you're always trying to optimize for the perfect race. So one example, it's not always better for you to put fuel in the car to allow you to run as fast as you can for the whole race. At the very end of the straight, when the car is going at its fastest speed, if the driver lifts 100 meters before the turn, he doesn't lose a lot of lap time, but he saves a lot of fuel. And if you compound that for, say, 55 laps...
And tires.
And tires. But the fuel is the important one, because if you combine 55 laps of the driver lifting a little bit earlier than he would at the end of the straight, his combined lap time is going to be not affected that much, but the total amount of fuel that we need to put in the car is down by maybe 1 kilo or 2. And if you have 1 or 2 kilos in the car for the whole race that you're dragging around in fuel, that's a lot of time left. So there's this optimization exercise of how much lift and coast do you want the drivers to do for the race versus how much fuel can you put in. And where it gets you is, let's say you agree with the driver, okay, you're going to be doing 100 meters lift and coast per lap. But now you have a competitor that's on your ass.
Yeah,
and guess where he's going to pass you at the end of the straight?
When you lift before.
When you're supposed to lift and coast. So now you don't lift and coast. And so from the engineering side,
You're fucked up.
we're sweating. And you are doing the safety car rain dance, If there's a safety car, suddenly it's all good. You save enough fuel, you're good for the rest of the race.
You can go to your private jet.
If there's no safety car, you're gonna run out of fuel, or you're gonna have to.
You're 143 grams away of the victory.
Yeah.
But there is no many. I don't remember last time we have like a fuel. How's it called in English?
Like run out. Run out of fuel. Yeah, that's because you come to a certain point where the engineer will say, okay, if you don't lift, you're not finishing the race.
Oh.
And so that's when you see them falling back.
And you also have the minimum weight after the race that you need to achieve, right?
You need, at least in my time, it was 1 kilo. You need 1 kilo of weight of fuel left for.
So still, cars will not stop. They still have 1 kilo. They can get
I mean,
a penalty after that, but
exactly.
So we're not gonna see cars running out.
But 1 kilo doesn't take you across one lap. So for a race,
1 kilo doesn't take you across one lap.
No, so for a full race fuel, it's about 115 to 120 kilos of fuel.
So your 143 grams were really spot on. It was 2 corners.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah,
it's
coming
fun.
back from there.
That's the biggest difference with IndyCar is IndyCar you have a wide scope. You have a lot of responsibilities. But because it's a lot less people in support, you can't go as deep into it as you can in F1. My role in Formula One was a lot more concentrated because there's so many more people.
Yeah, so you need to deal with that fuel consumption.
Yeah, so you're looking at the tiny little thing to the nth degree, and that's why my time in IndyCar was 100 times more fun because I had a lot more.
It's more rough.
It's rougher. You have more. It's more of a creative outlet in some ways. It's a trial by error. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does. In F1, it's like really, really. By the time it gets to the track, you have simulated it on the computer, on the dyno. You've run durability tests. You've gotten 5 different approvals. In IndyCar, sometimes you're on the grid and somebody will be on the radio, be like, "Okay, change this number from a 4 to a 6," and it's a lot more exciting. For sure.
Do you want a cheese on it or not?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, bacon. What?
Yeah. There's no, at least in my time, there's no Parc Fermi rules in IndyCar. So we are often changing. You don't want to.
Yeah, we want to go there perfect, but
often,
if you still have.
Often you're changing. Yeah.
Fine tuning.
The saying that the race car is never ready.
Yeah.
You can just go work. So Friday night is the bad day. And even if you crash and then you have the Saturday night, it's the bad day.
So Saturday night is usually the best day because once you're done.
The car is done.
Yeah. Our routine was you finish, we got pole or, 1 and 2 or 1 and 3, but it was always that in 2019.
Just hope for the best.
So they pass around some Haagen-Dazs ice cream. Everyone high fives.
Also a sponsor.
Yeah. But but there's a lot of prep work before the race. There's a lot of strategy decisions that we need to make. For example, how much fuel do we fill for the race? Yeah. How much lift and coast do we do? What's the probability of safety cars?
So they all use the same fuel?
No. Every engine manufacturer has developed their own fuel. It's the same base. It's gasoline.
But that's also super regulated too, right?
It's regulated the elements that you can use, but everyone has their different additives.
Do you think there's a better one, or they are related straight to the engine?
It's just very straight to the engine.
Yeah, so they optimize to the engine.
Yeah, so you're looking for cooling, lubrication, and knock resistance. So yeah, the pistons in a Formula One car are made of steel, so they're a lot more knock resistant than IndyCar. But I used to tell these guys a lot at Mercedes, we could have been so much more aggressive at Mercedes in knock, but everyone has a little bit of a fear. In IndyCar, to make power, you're going to be knocking a lot. And there's a balance. Knock is not necessarily always bad. When the piston's going up and down really fast, there's a layer of residual gases that kind of stay cycle to cycle. And they provide a protected coating on top of the piston. So the combustion temperatures are very high. The melting point of aluminum is not that high. But the aluminum doesn't melt.
The block.
The piston.
The piston.
Yeah. So in the IndyCar.
IndyCar. Okay.
So the piston gets protected by this residual gas layer that kind of like recycles itself from cycle to cycle, and when you have a knock event, you'll see it on the cylinder pressure trace as a very high pressure event, and if you apply the physics and you say, okay, this pressure on top of the piston, it would buckle the conrod, and so a lot of people think that knock is bad because it can buckle the conrod. In fact, what you measure, the high pressure that you measure on this on a pressure sensor, is just a wave of pressure that goes across the piston in a very high frequency. And so it's not a pressure across the whole piston, it's just a wave that goes like psst. And as the knock pressure wave goes back and forth through the piston, it sweeps away this layer of residual gases that protect the face of the piston. And it exposes the face of the piston to all the elements of combustion.
Mm-hmm.
But that residual gas layer builds up really quick, almost instantaneously after that. And so it's not that damaging. So where it is damaging is when you knock consistently, cycle after cycle, and now you're exposing the piston to a lot of heat. And so that's usually where knock is most damaging. And so you have to be very careful how you manage knock in Formula One or IndyCar. But because IndyCar has steel pistons that have a much higher strength, temperature, you basically you can stress those engines out a lot more than you can in IndyCar,
Carlos,
which is cool.
Right now I'm gonna do 3 reactions.
Like you understood?
So like I'm following,
yeah.
like I'm following. All right. He went full nerd. He went all the way down. That's very cool. Like, of course, we have much more shallow questions and curiosities for you, but that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So, bottom line is that's the same thing that we follow. Like, IndyCar is much more rough, even on the engine.
Yeah, I think so.
And why IndyCar doesn't adopt those engines here?
Because what I didn't get to in your original question of the differences, I said the combustion engine side is not so drastically different. Yes, there's different things around the rules of the cams, and one is pneumatic, one is still spring and stuff, but that's rules based. But the ERS side in the Formula One, that's where all the difference is. So the MGU-H, which is this over here, the orange cables that you see in this little model, these are the high voltage cables.
Let me show the model dash trophy from 2019.
Yeah.
So here are the cables over there connecting the motor to the battery.
Yeah, so that's the MGU-K is one of them, and the MGU-H is the other. So they're 2 high voltage electric motors that are extremely complex. So the MGU-H, I think the closest thing that you can get to that is maybe a fighter jet engine. And this is one of the big reasons why they're eliminating that from the power unit rules going forwards, is because it is so expensive. One MGU-H, this is a stat that I heard when I was there, so don't quote me on it, but it's like one MGU-H assembly is more costly than an entire V10 naturally aspirated engine from a few years before.
Yeah.
So the technology around the electrical side is really impressive in F1, and this allows you to be very efficient.
Do you think they're still carrying out technology from Formula One for road cars? Because that was the excuse to put so much money, for the manufacturers put so much money in Formula One and racing.
I don't see it.
No?
Yeah, I don't see it. It's so, like, the battery of a Formula One car is, if you consider the battery of a normal electric car being maybe like a kitchen sink, and maybe the battery of like a really high performance Tesla model, whatever, is like maybe a really expensive kitchen sink. Yeah. The battery of a Formula One car is a fire hydrant. So it's like, can you wash dishes with a fire hydrant? Not really, So it's not.
But even on those supercars, like you work at Zinger.
Yeah, so Zinger actually uses the same technology, So if you're thinking, does F1 technology translate to road cars? Maybe to 2.5 million hypercar road cars. Yes, 100%. Yeah. We actually have quite a few Formula One people and IndyCar people at Zinger. So yes, but that's a $2.5 million car.
One off.
Yeah.
Because that was the excuse for the manufacturers to put money on racing since the beginning, starting in 1910 with a rear view mirror on the Mormon Wasp over there.
I think there's opportunities, but the way
tires,
I see it,
oils,
oils, yes. The tires, I don't know. Lubricants, yeah, maybe. I'm not sure, but what I see as definite, yes, is the human resources, the skills that are developed in F1, because you have a group of people that are working so hard to such a high standard that if those people go from building race car engines to building anything else, to any other industry outside of racing, I think the experience that they bring in the method of working is something really valuable to society. Unfortunately, a lot of people go into racing, they don't leave racing.
Yeah.
But I think that's, going into Zinger and myself, I see how many synergies there are from the type of working that we did to the type of working that could be used in the automotive industry.
Because there's a lot of people coming from racing.
There's a lot of people. Well, there's not enough, in my opinion. I think, I always give this example, which is if you work at GM, your biggest fear is going to be a recall. So a recall is a nightmare financially. It's
Ford just had one with the Bronco.
Yeah, it goes on. It's on the news, right?
You lose quality, you lose confidence.
Yeah.
So just people don't want to buy the product anymore.
So what's the biggest fear in Formula One?
So far, crashing on a Saturday, crashing a qualifying. That's the.
But if you crash on a Saturday, it's
solved.
A lot of work in the background.
It'll be solved.
But and it's kind of expected, right?
Okay.
Your biggest fear in Formula One is not being ready to start the race.
Okay.
If you're not ready to start the race, that will be on the news. If Ferrari
and
didn't build
will be on your neck.
Exactly.
That's the worst.
That is your worst.
The guy's 6'5". Jesus Christ, get out of my way.
Of course, I'm taking away safety. Safety is the biggest, right?
Yes.
Forever.
Yes.
But
sure.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. Let's say the IGR woman's watching. Sure, safety.
No, in F1, safety has been amazing track record. Even what happened with Grosjean with the fire.
Jesus, yeah. Were you there at the time?
I was working in F1, but I wasn't. I think it was 2020. I was working from base.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so taking it with safety, it's being able to start the race. So what F1 does really well, motorsports does really well, is that I think people know when to stop. You think that a Formula One car is 100% perfection, but it's actually 80% perfection.
Come on.
And by the time
I'm gonna throw out this whole interview now.
We're
talking about screws that fall on the floor, and now I have to. No, need to put a new one. So now you're talking about 80%. It's a lot of
you get to 80%. By the time you get to Monaco, you're maybe at 90%. You've optimized.
Ah, okay.
But at some point, you need to stop, pencils down, and start on the next year's car. Right? So I think where a lot of people fall is that they're chasing perfection and they don't realize the 80-20 rule. You get 80% of the work with 20% of the effort. And 20% of the work takes 80% of the effort. So how can you do as much as you can to have the engines ready for the start of the race? And then how can you use your resources for as long as you can to optimize upon that? But there's a certain point in the season where, hey, we need to actually start looking at the next season. And it's pencils down.
And that's based on performance, right?
It's just based on time. You don't have time because the start of the race is not going to move because you're not ready. So wherever it is, you might be doing great.
No, but I mean for the next year, when do you guys decide say, look, developing is done in the engines. We're going to start to think about next year.
But it's not only performance. It's actually, if you think about the supply chain of an engine, you have 10,000 parts in an engine, and not all of them are manufactured in house. Although in Formula One and Mercedes, I think most of them are, but you have suppliers that have long lead times. You need to be able to build these engines to order enough parts to tool the suppliers if there's something that requires tooling.
Are there many engine changes between years?
It depends on the years.
On the regulations, if it changed or not.
But
is that a change, that like a major change that you're supposed to be doing, or something that you develop? It's going to be new for next year?
There's major changes still, yeah. If you look at what the F1 engine looks like, even between 2020 and 2021, it doesn't even look the same anymore. Because they changed the trumpet system, they changed...
That's why you guys came up with that weird side pod that year?
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys tried for three or four races, that thing. It was horrible, man. Sorry.
Yeah. I wasn't a part for that year. My last year was 2020.
Oh.
Yeah. I was up to the development of the 2021 powertrain, and I left in March.
If you have to have a beer with Valtteri or Lewis right now, who you choose?
With Valtteri or Lewis?
Oh, yeah.
No, I can't say. I like both of those guys a lot. Yeah.
Okay, Valtteri, Lewis, or Toto?
I didn't have much involvement with Toto.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's coming. He's always in LA now, right?
Well, his son graduated from USC. I graduated this year with my MBA.
Okay.
And I didn't know he was there, but we have a picture at the same spot, so we just missed each other.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Cool. That's pretty cool. Remember me? Motherfucker.
One of the things I say most privileged is to have worked with such amazing drivers, because not only Lewis and Valtteri, but Takuma, Alex Rossi
on that year was crazy.
Oh man, that was a good year. Yeah.
Napa car, Jesus Christ, coming this close to the wall.
We won the race with the car turned off. We ran out of fuel in the last turn.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Who came second on that one?
Colombian guy.
Montoya.
No.
Colombian guy?
Yeah. Gosh, I
don't remember. Colombian guy?
Yeah.
Google this, please. Colombian guy, 2019. No, 2000.
So in
2016.
We were running maybe 10th place or so, and there was a yellow flag. I think it was about 36 laps to go, and you can only do 33 or 32 laps in a tank of gas. And we came in, and the fueler had a problem, and he couldn't get the hose in the car. So we went from running like around 10th to dead last. And Brian Herda was the engineer calling the race. So we're in the...
Who was it?
Carlos
Munoz, yeah.
Okay.
So we're now in the very dead last, and everyone is just like totally just destroyed because, the fueling error. And now we're in the back of the race. And Brian, he's so calm. And I remember this moment perfectly. He goes on the intercom and he says, "How much fuel do we need to finish the race without another stop?" And, kind of looking around, it's like, you can't do that. And the guy who's calculating the fuel, he's like, does this number, and he's like, "We need to save this much. We need this fuel number target." It's like, that's crazy. You'll never be able to make that and still go fast. And then Brian said, "Calm down, guys. This is how we win the Indy 500. And so went on the radio, and it's like, "Alex, this is your fuel number that you need to target." And Alex was like, "What? That's crazy." And he's like, "Do that. And don't let anyone pass you." And so he's drafting people in the straight. He's lifting in the straight, which at Indy you never do. Saving so much fuel, lap after lap. And every lap we're updating the fuel, and it's like, okay, we're going to be a little bit short. You got to do better. Next lap, still going to be a little bit short. You got to do better. So with 3 or 4 laps to go, everybody comes in for a splash and dash, including Carlos Munoz. We suddenly go boop, 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 all the way to first. And we're running first. And Carlos Munoz is a madman with enough fuel to finish the race. Just,
Get out of my way.
Just out, yeah. And
which team was Carlos running?
Andretti.
Andretti?
Yeah.
But you guys were Andretti too?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. Oh my God. And then one lap to go.
How old were you?
How old I was? 28 maybe. Yeah. 1 lap to go. Rossi goes in turn 1. 1 lap to go, and the fuel pressure starts falling. We're like, we ran out of fuel. 1 lap to go, and so we yell on the radio, just clutch and coast, clutch and coast, clutch and coast, clutch and coast, because maybe you can have enough momentum to go around and finish. I don't know, maybe 20th, right? But you finished the Indy 500. So he's clutch and coasting through turn 1 and turn 2, and when he goes in the back straight, the collector just has enough fuel that fuel pressure goes boop, boop, boop. And we're like, okay, there's a little bit left. And so
when the car turned?
Full throttle, full throttle, full throttle.
So what?
So he's going full throttle down the back straight, does turn 3. Turn 4, the engine just shuts off.
Oh my God.
And he clutch and coasts across the finish line. So we're all standing there, and everyone
that's
is
the kind
quiet.
of information only you guys have.
Yeah. So everyone is quiet. 350,000 people, whatever, quiet. And then the car comes around, and the car is going 152 miles an hour across the finish line. I know that number so well. It's usually going around 235. He's going 152 miles an hour.
Is 405 on a Tuesday.
Carlos Munoz is 5 seconds away in second place, which means that 1 second later, he would have been like 1 second away. And the car just quietly rose across the bricks. And we won with no fuel in the car. Yeah. And they had to take the engine up.
That's how we won the Indy 500.
That's how, yeah. And
so that one is all on Brian.
Yeah. I mean, again, goosebumps just remembering it. But the way that he was able to bring everybody to a calm state of mind when everything seemed like it was the most uncontrolled chaos ever, and was able to bring us back. That's
why we need the racers. That's why you need the racers.
Yeah, that's a lesson. That's one thing I always saw with Ferrari, because I'm Brazilian, right? So people say I'm emotional. I take a problem with that. We're not emotional. We're expressive. There's a big difference. So in the years I was there, Ferrari was always pitted next to Mercedes, so we get to see them a lot. And I always thought that from their body language that I belonged more there than Mercedes, because they're moving their arms. But whenever we had an engine failure, there was a super controlled chaos that would happen at Mercedes, where I would look into the safety of the car for a couple of minutes, and then I would hand over that responsibility to somebody at home base who would take over. I would immediately start preparing the next engine. It was like a process. And in Ferrari, whenever they blew up an engine,
they're kicking the tires.
Yeah, like the guys would walk around like an anthill, like somebody stepped in an anthill. And it was just funny to see the difference, And they both work. But I was happy to have learned that more calm way of working, because my energy typically is very high always.
Yeah.
But when shit hits the fan, I feel that everybody else's energy goes above mine, and I'm able to calm down. So I work really well under this type of pressure.
Because of your time on Mercedes.
Because of my time at Mercedes, at Indy, because of Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all of these things that you learn.
I didn't know that Brian was that calm.
Oh, yeah.
So that's something that I kind of have with my boss here. I always go to the meetings. I'm going to tell this guy to fuck off. And then I come down, everything's fine. I
think, I am that kind of person that is very expressive, as I say. But when things get really bad and you just need to solve the problem, the most efficient way to solve the problem is to have a calm mind. My son tripped and hit his face on the ground, and as soon as he stood up, there was blood on the ground and blood on his face. He's fine. He cut his lip. But my wife was so scared, she got pale.
Yeah. And you told your wife, calm down, we have another one. The other one's still perfect. Look at that.
No, but it's the type of thing you don't expect to be so calm during that moment. But I could see all of my just training. You calm down, you slowly sit down, you control the situation.
You see Toto Wolff floating in your head. And then you see Valtteri. Oh, Valtteri, 100 more meters, please. Oh, you see Rossi crossing the line.
Yeah. So I am not a calm person. In no means, But when I need to solve a problem, I get calm. I become
still
calm.
get with the age too. I think as we get older, we're basically the same age, but as soon as you get older, you start to figure out stuff. And
Yeah.
And I also think, of course, the Mercedes experience must be crazy, but I feel this way too. But I think it's also with experience. Like we've lived stuff. We know what's going on. We kind of have our lives in a place that, okay, you have where to live, you have a wife, you have the kids. That's not the worst thing that ever happened. We get around this.
Yeah, it's not our first rodeo.
Your first rodeo, that's true.
I remember saying that at my second rodeo.
My second rodeo. Never been to a rodeo. That's the worst. So we don't want to vote between Lewis and Valtteri to have a beer right now.
Well, I'll tell you just like my experience from both of them. So Valtteri is a person you can have a beer with, and he's so nice and warm and good, and you have no idea how smart these guys are.
I can't believe it.
Like we used to do this pre-race report where all of the engineers specific to their functions would have maybe 5 to 10 slides of information for each track. And so I had to prepare that every week, go with Valtteri. Okay, here's, what you have to do. Here's the optimal shifts you need to use. Here's, the fuel type of, But everything I did, the suspension guy did the same, the electronics guy did the same, the tires, the aerodynamic. And Valtteri can absorb all of that. And it's incredible. It's incredible. Lewis, I worked directly with him only 3 races. But we were always very close, and Lewis has an energy that is very difficult to put your finger on what's different. And when Rosberg won the championship, I wasn't there, but I heard many stories. Rosberg basically decided that he was going to become a monk that year. There's a thing that he didn't even sleep in the same bed as his wife for that whole season because he wanted to get into a mental space that would give him the competitive edge.
The old mindfuck.
Yeah, yeah, and I think he was arguably not the best driver, but he won from his mind. And Lewis realized that in order to be the best, you can't just be the best driver. You need to be in an elevated state of mind. What does that mean, elevated state of mind? I don't know. We're all looking for it, right? But the presence that Lewis brought into any room that he was with, you could tell that he is not a person that lives 1 second in the past or 1 second in the future.
Yeah.
He lives in the moment. So we would come in, and then maybe an hour later, the drivers would come in because they have different, marketing responsibilities and stuff. So Valtteri would come in, would say hi, shake everybody's hands, and it was like, okay, that's cool. And then Lewis would come in, and he would say hi and shake everybody's hands. But whenever you shook his hand, he would look you in the eye, and it was like he was looking into your soul. And it was like nothing else mattered for those 3 seconds of interaction that you had with him. It was, you realize that like, okay, something special just happened.
So my words, the guy's the devil. It's the devil. The guy's the devil. That's it.
Yeah, it was. The
guy's the Oprah of motorsport.
It was
presence.
It was hard. I began to, whenever you get to the track in the morning, you have a lot of stuff to do. But I always like to find a grounding moment in the day where I can say, okay, now I'm going to stop and I'm going to start fresh. You get in, you have, you got to do this, that, and then you stop, you take a breathe, and you really start your day. And I started using that moment as my grounding moment. Whenever Lewis would come in and say good morning, I would take a moment, just have a breath, realize like, okay, something special just happened here. Take this opportunity to ground myself, get my mind back into like a nice working level, and then I would start my day.
That's special.
Oh, yeah.
The person's that special.
And he would feel things that engineers would never believe if we couldn't see on the data, like knock. When you say knock in an engine, that's 30 kilohertz vibrations. You don't hear past 15 kilohertz, maybe 18. So Lewis would be like, yeah, this is great. I really felt that the engine was knocking at the start of the straight, and like it was really punchy, and I could hear the knock. And you'd be like, no way, you can't hear the knock. And you look at the data, and exactly where he would say it was knocking. And you can't really understand, like, how is he able to have this level of awareness? And I think that it is through his work on trying to really elevate himself. And you could see, when things didn't go well for him, he would react in the moment, but that's it. He wouldn't come back and really dwell on it. He was the type of guy that win or lose, he kind of always carried himself in a very stable, in the moment kind of way that I always admired a lot. And I'm a tree hugging hippie myself, so I do my meditations. I try to ground myself daily, and a lot of that I learned from just being around Lewis and seeing how much that makes him a better competitor, all around.
That's pretty cool to hear.
I think so.
So do you think he's your favorite driver on the grid right now?
Yeah, he is my favorite driver.
Different level.
I mean, all of the drivers are so good, and I work with so many. Like the other day I saw Ocon on TV, and I had forgotten I worked with him, but I worked with Ocon on the simulator. I worked with George Russell on the simulator. A few others.
Is there anybody else that you feel like different, like Lewis?
No.
Not that much.
To this level of this balance of raw skill and this intangible, like almost a spiritual level of awareness. No.
Aura.
Yeah.
Not even Max? Or you think Max is just too much dedicated to it?
I think you see the exact opposite in Max in the way that he reacts when things don't go well. Like he cusses people out, and he's got more raw talent than anybody in the grid. I think if he was able to ground himself the way that Lewis did, he would become.
It took a while for Lewis to do that.
It did, yeah.
It took a couple years.
Yeah.
He had some harsh days.
Yeah.
Fighting with his father, bringing the girlfriend over, and.
Yeah, it was before my time. So when I got there, all I heard is the stories of how he basically, had the 2016 season, and that basically, that might have been the catalyst or whatever. I don't know. I never talked to him about it, but it was just something I just quietly admired.
Well, now that you mentioned, I had one experience with him in 2019 Austin when he won the championship, but he didn't win the race. So you won the race, I know. So everybody was on the podium, and I finished shooting the pictures, and most of the media guys were there covering the podium. So I entered back to the media room, and he walked into the media room just to cross it, and everybody said, yeah. So
about that 2019, if you look back at the podiums from 2019, they would just put like new people on the podium as the manufacturer representative, because we were winning so many races.
You were there at the podium?
No. So
I have pictures.
So Valtteri won four races that season, and Lewis won the rest. I think we lost Mexico and Austria.
I have right here.
Yeah.
Let me see.
So Valtteri won Australia, race 1.
Italy you lost. Italy.
Oh yeah, Italy. Leclerc won.
Italy, Belgium.
Yeah.
First Leclerc.
Yeah, that's right.
Austria. So it's 3 already.
And
Not that
Mexico.
good of a season, huh?
Mexico.
Does Mexico not here?
Yeah, Mexico we did poorly at.
No, Mexico, Hamilton first.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Huh. So it was 3 only. It was Austria. Well.
Yeah, Austria.
Orange Army. Belgium. And Italy.
So Italy, when Leclerc won, it's funny because all the Mercedes engineers at the end of the race were there typing away, doing our reports and stuff, and there's always somebody whistling the Italian national anthem because it's so catchy. It'd be like, stop that. I was like, okay. And then 5 minutes go by, somebody else is whistling it. It was as much as I wanted Valtteri to win. I'm pretty sure for that race, Valtteri came second, and we ran out of energy, so we had better pace than him. And for the last couple of races, we basically just deplete the battery and we try to get as much. And we ran out of energy. We couldn't pass him. But being in Monza for a Ferrari win is in itself a bucket list thing. So even though it was,
and I think it was the first time that he won there.
It was, yeah.
I remember that podium was crazy.
Yeah, it was amazing.
But come on, between us was the cheating car. They were cheating on that car.
Yeah, yes.
Because Austin comes like three or four races after it.
Yeah.
And that's where they stopped doing it.
Yeah. That was well. So, anyways, in Austin, there was some rumblings that's like, hey, if Valtteri wins this race, it might be you in the podium, to me, because so many people had gone already.
I'm gonna look for this picture. Go ahead.
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. But it's
Okay.
if Valtteri won, I was on the top of the list to be the podium person. So Lewis's engineer had gone to the podium in Montreal. So my time was coming.
Yeah.
But there was this one if Valtteri wins, but Lewis comes, anywhere between 6th or 7th or whatever, then Lewis locks the championship, and then they're gonna put a big head to represent. And sure enough, Lewis came in 4th. So we won the race. Lewis came in 4th, but I lost my one and only a life chance to be at the podium. Which is okay.
It's not, and now that I know that you go straight to the airport, you're gonna need a shower after all the champagne there.
Oh yeah, you know what? People don't realize how bad it is to be drenched in champagne.
I can't imagine.
It's nasty.
And also, you don't have the big motorhomes with the shower, so you're gonna have to figure out a way to go get out of there.
No. Yeah.
Which is your favorite circuit? Not for the race, but to be there.
Well, outside of the 500, I like Suzuka a lot. I think being in Silverstone is out of this world.
It's so cold, fucking hell. It's the coldest place on earth.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's just like going to Laguna Seca here. It's a horrible experience. Like all mountains and have to walk around. It's hot as hell. Don't have where to just put your stuff. It's horrible.
See, that's the standard for me.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to see like a worse one of that. I'll tell you, the one thing that really drives race engineers and like a factor in how much they like a place or not is the bathrooms. And I'm pretty sure this is a unanimous opinion that the worst bathrooms is Interlagos.
Come on, no.
Expected.
That's a way to finish like gas station bathrooms.
Expected.
Still?
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
Jesus Christ, I cannot finish with this.
And
This is such a down note. Like, let's find something else.
But the bathroom is a big factor. Like there's in IndyCar, Pocono is a terrible place. Oh man, it's far. You got to go far, but they have this amazing bathroom experience.
It's worth it to go.
Yeah, there's a guy that like is like a what do you call it?
Like a butler.
A butler guy at the bathroom, and you have like soaps and colognes and.
In Pocono,
Amazing bathroom experience.
in Pocono they have a butler. In Brazil they have a butcher.
Bucket.
A bucket. A bucket. Jesus, man, this is such a down note. Finishing with Brazil.
No, but I had a great experience last time I was in Interlagos that I did a track walk, but I have a ankle full of bolts from a motorcycle accident, so it started locking up. And I didn't want to go up the hill.
You hear the knock?
I hitched a ride with a really old Volkswagen van. How do you say combi?
Combi.
Combi.
VW bus.
Yeah, VW bus, a really old one. So I just hitchhiked across the half of the track at Interlagos on an old falling apart VW bus, and that was really fun.
Downside, the good side. Well, Interlagos, the worst is that the pits stay all the way up, and to get into it is just a lot of work to get there.
It is, yeah. But I love that track. That track is so amazing. So outside of the bathroom experience, Interlagos is one of my favorites.
Sure, yeah. And the fact that you can get kidnapped by the door.
Well,
So Jason, right?
we at Mercedes, we have to do these really cool training exercises if you're going trackside. One of them is a fire training. So you go into this old abandoned airport. You have to work with firefighter, put out actual fires. It's like a whole day of training. So when I got there, it was this first or second year that they were doing evasive driving training. So they teach you how to drive away from dangerous situations. And so you go into this abandoned airport, you pick a car, and they're all broken down cars. They disable the airbags, so you wear a helmet. And there's this instructor that used to lead convoys for presidential stuff. And so you do all of these amazing, cool exercises where you're sweeping around, hitting other people's cars and stuff. And then at the very end, there's this test, and you're supposed to do this test to like qualify. And you learn all of these maneuvers and situations. And it's like, okay, now you're going to go through this alley, and you don't know what's going to happen, and you're going to have to like apply one of your skills, right? And so you're going through this alley, you don't know what's going to happen. And then there's this car with the trunk open and a lady asking for help. And you're like, okay, there's like something's going to happen around there. And as soon as you drive close to her, and she's like trying to ask for help, as soon as you drive close to her, this guy jumps out of the back with an airsoft gun, like a machine gun.
Speaking Portuguese.
And you're you're supposed to then, drive away in the safe, manner, in this like fast manner and stuff. And that's how you like pass the test, right? And it's crazy because any Brazilian knows that if somebody stopped your car with a gun, you get out, you say thank you.
Thank you very much, it's yours.
Yeah, is there anything else I can give you? And you walk away. You never drive away from a guy with a gun. But anyways, they made this safety training because, unfortunately, the Mercedes team got held up at gunpoint.
Yeah.
And they got their laptops stolen and stuff.
But the Jason Button tried to kidnap him by the
forgot
Interlagos
about that.
door. Yeah.
Really? Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And Lando had his watch stolen at the Palmeiras game.
So embarrassing.
And you're here complaining about the bathrooms. But did you die? Remember? But did you die? No, right? Yeah, it's horrible. Man.
Yeah. São Paulo, great place.
Luis,
Unfortunately.
when the kid ggets a little older, I'm gonna stall you again, and then we're gonna share more questions because I still have 2 hours to go here, but I need to let you go.
Hey, if you guys like this, I live close by. So
we can do another one. It's very cool to share. Like we're hardcore fans. I had the chance to follow some races, and we here have the chance to follow this microphone, to share this microphone with Chip Ganassi, with Zach Brown, even older drivers like John Morton with a different era. And we're going to keep coming, bring new people, bring in drivers now.
Cool.
Maybe Alex Palou is going to be here next year.
Cool.
Yeah. But to have you here, a fellow Brazilian, sharing this kind of stuff is just a lot of information that we don't have, and it's pretty cool for us as a fan. And I'm glad that you're here in front of the cameras to share, because the niche people who watch this is going to be very, 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 very praised. Praised, no, very proud, not proud. I don't know what's the word, but they're going to be happy to watch this and have this kind of information. When are you going to go back to motorsports?
TBD.
TBD.
Yeah, TBD.
Okay.
TBD.
All right.
I'll let you know in a little bit. Yeah.
Are you looking forward to come back or?
Maybe.
Depending.
Yeah.
How much
depends.
they pay? Yeah, depending on the bathroom situation. Luis, thank you very much.
But let me say one thing here. It's very important for me to know where my roots were and why I got here. And I've gotten here. I was able to do all of these amazing things because people helped me, and they helped guide me through this. And if any of your listeners or viewers want to know more about getting into motorsports, or they have maybe a son or a daughter that wants to go into that path and they want to know, get in touch with me. You can share my contact information. And I had a lot of help when I was going through it. I had people that got to Formula One that I'm still in touch with today that helped me. So there's a lot of easy things that you can do to kind of cut through the crowd and get there. And if there's a way I can help, I would always be happy to do so.
So do you think if Carlos loses 10 pounds, he can get a chance on maybe on NASCAR, right? Maybe something like that. Very, very, very
Thank
cool,
you.
man. Especially when you get to know the drivers and the people that we see, and we know they're special, but we don't know that they are that special.
Yeah,
You want to show that thing before I go?
Oh yeah. So I have 3 of these.
Right. Oh, Carlos is gonna.
So this is something they do that is really cool at Mercedes, which is we get these this cool swag. So you show the little engine model. So I have 2 of those. I have 3 of these every race that we won, we have a little track in the back, some medals, and then these top ones are for the drivers in the manufacturers championship, and they're really cool. My dad has a room full of the rest of the swag that I have.
You're sending out to Brazil.
Well, the shirts, the team kits, I send it all to Brazil, and I give it all to my grandpa. My grandpa lives in a small little village, and then he distributes them. So if you go to that small village,
everybody's a Mercedes fan.
You have the owner of the pet shop selling birdseed, wearing a factory Mercedes Formula One shirts.
So yeah, you think that he's giving away? He's making money out of you. I'm sorry to tell you that. Making a lot of money. That's pretty cool. So this gift comes by the end of the year. It comes by each race. They give you the medal.
No, by the end of the year.
So.
Usually a few months after you get the custom personalized motor, the medal. The guys in Brackley get a car, so we get the motor.
What do you mean,
Brackley
car?
They get a little model car.
Okay.
Yeah, because we are the power unit side. We were the power unit side. We get
Just
the
the motor,
engine.
yeah.
I think the engine is cooler.
Yeah,
Because you can buy the car, you can't buy that engine.
Did they ever offer some employee discount on the new Mercedes?
Oh, we used to get
You used to get? Really?
We used to get in Tommy Hilfiger.
I'm talking about cars. The
Oh,
Mercedes.
car!
A full Mercedes. A G-Wagon. How much money you can save?
The coolest car that I got through Mercedes while I worked in the UK was a smart 4.4. Yeah, loved it.
4.4, the one that they made for 2 years.
Yeah. That car only saw full throttle or no throttle. It was a blast to take the little smart car across the roundabouts in the UK. I had so much fun. And then after that, I got an A-class something, and it was a
company
so
car?
boring. It was it's like
Shared.
a company lease.
Sure.
Yeah. It was fun. It was a good time. Yeah.
Good time. Man, thank you very much.
Of course.
I'm going to see you soon again.